Hi and welcome back to our channel. My name is Pastor Shadi and this is Honey Let's Talk, where we say when we talk, we make it better. Today I want us to have a conversation with us about the first year of marriage. How do you navigate your first year of marriage? What are some of the things that you need to think about in your first year of marriage? One of the things that you'll realize after your premarital counseling, after preparing for the wedding, and the wedding has come and the wedding has gone, less and less people talk to you or advise you about marriage. And you might find yourself sometimes isolated. It's just you and your spouse, and you have no idea what you need to think about. This is the best time to go back to your premarital counseling questions, premarital counseling conversation, and just revise and have now conversation in a real and a slow pace as you continue to process what is happening in your marriage. But today, I want to share with you 3 things you need to think about as foundational things as a newlywed couple. One of those things is conflict. Conflict is one of the things that is inevitable. Conflict will come. You will fight. Doesn't matter how long you guys had dated before, you will fight. You will go through seasons in your life whereby there's a conflict after the other. And that is normal. It's normal because you're getting to know each other, especially in your first year of marriage. So the question is, how do you navigate conflict in your first year of marriage? I want to give you some interesting way that we do it, and you don't have to do like we do, but I will advise you that you have to talk about your conflict. You have to talk about it. You have to talk about it. You have to talk about it. And you have to talk about it a lot of times. But here's the way you will solve conflict in marriage. Number 1, pre-decide before the conflict comes. Pre-decide how you'll solve it before it happens. Pre-decide as a couple, how do we deal with conflict? So sit down, go on a date, and ask each other the question. So how are we going to deal with conflict when it comes? Imagine if we will find ourselves at some point in our life fighting about our in-laws, fighting about your sisters, or fighting about your brothers, or fighting about your family, or fighting about my family. How are you going to deal with that? Or how are you going to deal with a conflict around money? If we ever fight about money, how are we going to deal about it? Or maybe it's the chaos or chores, whichever. How are we going to deal with it? How are we going to deal with the responsibility in the house? If we ever fight about this, how are we going to deal with it? How are we going to deal with the issue of expectation? What do you expect from me? What I expect from you? What we expect from each other? If we ever fight about it, how are we going to deal with it? You need to pre-decide way before it comes, because it will help, gives you a cushion or a shock absorber when it happens. And then now when it happens, how do we deal with it? Number 1, you have to come with 3 attitudes when you're going to solve a conflict. And we've learned this the hard way. You have to come with 3 attitudes when you're coming to solve a problem. Number 1, come ready to forgive. Sounds simple, it's not. Come ready to forgive. No matter who has done what, come ready to forgive. Come with the attitude that no matter what my wife has done, no matter what my husband has done, no matter what we have done to each other, I'm ready to come with an attitude of forgiveness. Number 2, come ready to apologize. Come ready to say sorry. It doesn't matter if you're having a conflict, you have played a part in it. Even if it's the smallest percentage in the contribution in this conflict, you have to come ready to apologize. You have to come ready to apologize. I've said this several times because it's super important. Come ready to say, I'm sorry, I did that. When you're going through a conflict, the 4th thing, and I'm going to give you another bonus, the 4th thing you need to do is to come ready to give your spouse the opportunity to share openly what they feel and what they had or what they're experiencing. Because when you give them an opportunity, you get the opportunity yourself to understand how they got or the perspective of the issue from their end. Many a times people fight, and when they come, they're all talking, they're all shouting, they're all engaging, and you end up not solving the problem because you don't give each other the opportunity to say, hey, this is what I feel. And here's something you can do. When you're having a conflict, you can choose, if you're a married couple, you can buy a teddy bear or buy something in the house and say, hey, or just get a ball, a small ball, and say, hey, the person with the ball is the person talking. The person with the ball is the person talking. So if I am the one talking, I take the ball, and as long as I'm the one holding the ball, I'm allowed to say what I feel. And I share it, and I share it, and I share my heart. And then once I'm done, before the other person talks, they need to begin from a place of apologizing. Don't go defending yourself first. Before you even explain what you meant or what is going on from your end, you need to start by saying, I am sorry, that's what you felt, or that's how you feel about this thing, or that's what I made you feel at that point. I am sorry. Once you apologize, what that does, it calms things down. And then you take the ball and you share from your perspective. You share from your perspective. You share about how what you meant when you said what you said, or what was going on at that moment, what was happening, or what was going on in your heart, in your mind, what you're thinking. Sometimes you might fight and it's a misunderstanding because you said something and the other person had it the wrong way. So there's an opportunity to clarify, this is what I meant. But that does not excuse the fact that I hurt you. This is what I meant. I am sorry, but this is what I meant. And then the other person, when they hear what you meant, they begin from a place of saying, I am sorry that I didn't get it the way you were expressing it. And I apologize for my contribution in hurting you this way. So that is an important aspect of communication and conflict resolution. The fourth one, which is a bonus one, you need to come ready to fight for the relationship. You need to come ready to fight for the relationship. Many people want to fight, and they've already come with the mindset that I'm leaving, I'm going, I'm out of here. I don't care what this person says. I don't care how he'll try to convince me, but I've already made up my mind, I'm leaving. That is a wrong attitude. Because with that attitude, you'll not be able to solve. You'll give each other ultimatum. Unless you do this, unless you do that, you'll start putting pressure into the relationship, and it will not survive. So come ready to fight for the relationship. As you're going to that meeting, as you're going to that date, say to yourself, today I'm coming out having solved this problem and having fought for my partner. I want to fight for this. So come ready to fight for the relationship. Those are some of the things you can do to solve conflict in your relationship. But first, guys, hear this, it's important. Predecide before it happens. Predecide before it happens. Predecide. Look at all aspects, all areas in your life that can bring conflict. And here are 5 areas you can think about. Finances, talk about it. Talk about it. Areas, talk about how you feel. Talk about it. Talk about if we ever fight about money, if we ever go through this about money, if we ever want to do something with our money, how are we going to deal with it? Talk about intimacy. Intimacy. If we ever find ourselves where we are fighting because of our intimacy, how are we going to deal with it? Talk about in-laws, talk about sisters, brothers, fathers, mothers. Talk about it and say, hey, if we ever have a conflict about your father, how do you want us to deal with it? If you ever have conflict about your brother or your sister or your friends, talk about it. It's important. Do it before it happens, because it will happen. Talk about careers and time. Talk about engagement with friends and time together. If we ever fight because we don't have time for each other, how do you want us to go about it? These are some of the things you can do to help you navigate your first year of marriage, especially in the area of conflict. Hope this has been a blessing to you. If it has, please leave a comment below saying you liked it or you loved it, and I will sure continue to do content that will help you advance your marriage. Because here we say, honey, let's talk. Because when you talk, you make it better. So go out there and have a conversation about it. See you next week as we share share another aspect of how to